Now let's get into how many chickens do you need? The short and sweet is two. You need at least two per person per household. But that's where things start to get a little bit interesting. Now, if you have a kid, I'd say under 10, you only need one per child. But if you have a teenager, I would definitely say two. Treat them like an adult because they will eat you out of house and home. Of course, these numbers change just a little bit depending on how many eggs your house consumes. Because think about it, realistically, if you guys consume maybe a dozen eggs a month, I'd say you're probably better off not actually keeping chickens. Economically, it doesn't make sense. But if you're a family that eats a lot of eggs consistently, then yeah, you're gonna need two chickens per person over the age of like 10 or 13 in your house. But when they're laying more consistently and you're getting one egg per chicken every day, it adds up more quickly than you would think. And we know sometimes life be lifing. So let's imagine this. It's May, and the first week in May on like a Tuesday, everyone's late for school, late for work. You just don't have time to stop and make breakfast. And then week 2 rolls around and it's a Saturday, so the house decides to sleep in and not make breakfast. Week 3 rolls around and maybe one of the days you have brunch with your girls, and because you make the best eggs, the rest of the house just doesn't make breakfast that day. Then it's week 4, and let's say it's a Sunday. Either you guys have church and you're going to go to breakfast later, or you have to take the kids to some kind of practice, but for whatever reason you just don't have eggs that day, or maybe you just don't feel like making breakfast that day. Well, now it's the end of the month, and even though you only miss 4 days, the chickens never stop laying eggs. So let's just say you have 6 chickens and they all laid eggs every single day in the month of May. Well, now you have 24 eggs that extra that you have to use on top of everything else that they laid that month. What are you gonna do? You're like, oh, I can go through those 24 like it's nothing. Then you're fine. But I will say, just be aware they can add up really quickly when you don't use them. But in these times, I'm pretty sure your friends and family would really love and appreciate, throwing them a couple eggs their way. Now wait, before you run out and go buy a bunch of chickens, we still need to talk about what kind of chickens you need depending on where you live. And also, if you want to get chickens for colorful eggs, or if you just want to get chickens that lay a bunch of eggs. That all does matter. And yes, these are natural eggs. These are not dyed eggs. So knowing what you know now, how many chickens do you and your family actually need? And are you excited? Are you scared? How are you feeling about that? Let me know.